As humans for the first time started building houses thousands of years ago, loam was one of the most important building materials in the world. Along with the forthcoming industrialization of Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries, loam was reduced to a local building material. Brickworks were installed everywhere and thus pushed away loam as the principal building material. As a consequence, even more basic assets were required for building a house. Through the social developments of the period, the quality of building with loam was generally neglected and became obsolete and inaccessible to the most of the population. Overthrowing the linguistic and psychological barriers was generally more complicated than solving technical problems with loam building. This becomes obvious when looking at the many antique loam and framework buildings that have since been lovingly restored and conservated. Joseph Frank, an architect of the period, put it into words. Loam is not a building material, it is a philosophy, and they invocate its magic powers mostly in the time of great need. It seems that in the first place not only an ecological but an economical crisis gives out the calls for such a building material. Loam as a building material can for many reasons contribute to the environment preservation. The focal topic of our era is the caring treatment of our environment and its resources. As loam helps saving the energy resources while building a house, it helps greatly in the environment preservation too. In its nature as a shortways material, loam fully substitutes the expensive conventionally produced building materials. The curriculum of production, use and recycling remains small and therefore economical. The good prospects for an ultimate success of loam as the top building material lay not only in the claims for a higher level comfortability of living, but also in the requiring for a healthy, in any way affordable building material. Loam is going to be and is already a visionary building material. It fits already perfectly in the today's architecture, with its plenty of building techniques regardless if it's brick, wood or low-energy building systems. In that way, loam contributes greatly to increasing and keeping the value of a home. We regard the use of loam as a building material by no means as a nostalgical step backwards, but the return to the common sense. Loam, clay, soil. 3 words with the same essence. They all together led to the development of Terrapid, the first fully automized system that transports a special loam mixture over distances of up to 100 meters away from the bin. The system complies thus fully with today's requirements on efficiency in all fields.
There was this idea about dry spraying in spring 2000. Now all possibilities were tested and the function of the system was proved by us. That was the point where the whole idea was patented in its actual state. At the same time, we further developed the material itself so that the whole machinery can safely and professionally run for hours. There were a few additional developments during this period, which we had registered too. Altogether, it took about 2 years to redesign the machines, to adjust the blenders and the whole system, so that all the parts work all the time perfectly together.
The building materials as found in nature can directly be used by the machines in their original form, so that they give a long-lasting and continuous quality. The material mixture for Terrapid has been so composed for fabrication that it can be promptly admitted anytime and anywhere. In the course of processing, a homogeneous earth-moist mixture of sand and clay concentrate gets accelerated at a speed of approximately 10 bar through a blender and then through pipes into a spraying gun. Hereby, only 2 men are required for spraying the material against a form. In order to achieve required firmness and stability of the compound, the spraying system generates locally high pressures through acceleration and stress. Thanks to 2 volumetric % added water, the compound hardens quickly, so that the irregularities caused by spraying can be promptly corrected. The material's naturality is the guarantee for a non-damaging processing. Moreover, loam makes itself a good name in cosmetics. The skin gets visibly invigorated and gets a very fine touch. Terrapid is unlimited reusable, easy to handle and leaves no damaging residues. The room climate improves and it regulates the air humidity. Terrapid offers a very good sound insulation, comfortable surface temperatures, and last but not least, it keeps the relative air humidity constantly at a 45 to 55%.
Das ganze System wurde jetzt so aufgebaut, dass
the whole system has now been designed to work with the usual machines you can hire at any rental company. You need in fact just 2 adjustments. The mason at the building site doesn't have to make any big adjustments. Everything is standardized. Basically, the worker needs to push 2 buttons and the system goes. You push again the button and the system stops. There is a certain water adjustment and it is already pre-standardized. You simply need to open and close. In that way, we minimize the possible errors which could be made. The less a worker has to adjust and the less he has to know, the less errors could be made.
Umso weniger Fehler kann er schlicht und ergreifend machen.
From now on, it is possible to create partition walls in any desired form, regardless if it's a serpent or whatever. The shuttered side is so plain and even that 5 minutes later you can work with it. The material is structured so that you can do the masonry, rendering and painting in one day. The savings in time and working power for the construction are enormous.
Und farbiger Dekor möglich ist und dann ist die Wand fertig.
Because of the extremely high absorptionary properties of our building materials, we tested how far we can build cooling walls with it. In that way, we can also produce, retail and substitute the air conditioner. So far, the cooling system had always a condensation problem that led to dripping water from the ceiling. What doesn't happen anymore with our building materials, because they absorb the steam completely. We now intend to expand to Asian and Arabian market and offer our products there, because people suffer through the air conditioners from cold. They want to get rid of that problem and were totally enthusiastic about the idea of cooling through walls.
The pure colorfulness and looks of the material gets intensified through the process of compacting. These positive arguments that characterize the loam building in its popularity are complemented by its specific material language and technique related to modern architecture. The natural beauty, the right usage and health of the people in enclosed spaces are guaranteed, free of any decorative and esoteric style poses. The individual formability allows the realization of architecture in creative and modern ways. The stadium of a D alternative has long since been overthrown. The future of a modern loam building is open, especially with regard to the health of future generations.